There are so many reasons I like using Rockwool insulation as the exterior insulation on the homes that we design and build, but here are 5 that I think any architect, builder, or homeowner ought to consider when building their new home. First of all, it's very fire resistant. Rockwool is a mineral wool which has been used for a really long time as a fire stop between floors, between adjacent spaces, and it's worked its way into cavities and as an exterior continuous insulation. And it's as a fire resistive barrier. It serves that as well as the thermal resistive barrier for any structure, residential or commercial. Another reason why we really like it is its ability to dry. So if any moisture gets into a wall assembly, whether it's through a leak or airborne moisture like humidity, this insulation has a permeance rating of 50, so it's very vapor open, so any moisture that gets into it, it dries out really quickly. A third reason why we like it is the minimal expansion and contraction that it has. So when the temperatures increase and decrease, the insulation is very stable. So where we have seams like this one, we're not going to see a lot of opening of that gap, which helps with our continuous R value and allowing preventing air from getting in and out of the assembly, moisture, and if somehow an insect gets into that cladding, even though we've got belts and suspenders around this whole assembly, if an insect gets in there, those gaps are great areas for them to crawl into and try to get in. But as I said, we have belts and suspenders approaches everywhere to keep the bugs out of the assembly. A fourth reason is the UV resistance of the product. So if you're with having the insulation to the outside of the structure and then having rain screen systems and an open joint cladding system on your rain screen, that open joint allows sun and UV light to penetrate through the cladding, so it can reach back to that insulation layer, and to have an insulation that can resist that UV light is very beneficial. A fifth reason is that insects don't really care for it. They don't eat it. They don't really burrow in it. They don't really care for it. And as I said, we do have measures in place to prevent insects from getting into it, though can it be perfectly insect tight? Probably not. That's a very difficult task for anyone, but we've done as many measures as we can to prevent that through insect screens and very tight joints with our siding where it meets the metal corner trim. We do not use caulk, but we do have details that prevent those insects from getting in without the need for any kind of a sealant, which we see as a failure point in a building. So we try to prevent all forms of sealant, especially on the exterior. So those are five good reasons to consider. There are many more, and I'm sure we'll be throughout the videos about this insulation we'll be sharing more, but those are 5. Check out our video this week later about more about this insulation and why we have some horizontal and some vertical furring strips here, how we're attaching it, why we're attaching it the way we are, and more about just the overall installation of the Rockwool at the High Performance home in Marietta, Georgia. Until next time, thanks for stopping by.